Hello everyone, it's Jasmine. Welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be on a really pretty soft ink blended background. This is really a simple project. I'm going to do some just distress inks because those are designed for this technique. You can use pretty much any dye ink. I haven't come across a brand that doesn't work for this, but the distress inks do seem to do it a little easier than the rest. And I think it's because they stay wet longer. But really, if you have any dye inks, you can try this out. Like I said, I haven't come across one that doesn't do it. So anyway, I've started out with a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of white Nina Solar White cardstock, 110 pound. And I'm started out with wilted violet, and I've got that in the top corner. And then the bottom corner, I'm going to do cracked pistachio. If you have trouble with this technique, there's a few things you can try. One is lighten up your pressure, and the other is you need to go back over between your colors. You'll see me kind of layering them back and forth and adding to the intensity, adding to the blend, so that if you get any harsh marks, like you can kind of see the shape of your blending tool, whether you use this round one or you have the older style rectangular ones. Either one works. The round ones do work a little better. They tend to leave less marks. I'm not really sure why that is specifically, but I have both and I've used both and they both work. So either way, you'll see me go back and forth between the colors to blend them together where they meet. And I do that to get a third color between them because I really like doing that. I really like to see what I can get, but also to get rid of any marks. And when you're doing it across the full sheet of your cardstock like I am, you do tend to get more marks. And you can see that I do get a few with the Salty Ocean. And when you're doing smaller pieces of cardstock, this goes faster. But when you're doing a full card size piece like I am, it does take a little bit of time. So don't rush yourself. Lighten up your pressure and try to hold your tool at a little bit of an angle, so that it's not flat to the paper. That's going to allow more free movement across your surface, and it's also going to help alleviate some of those marks. Now I tend to go through and clean off any excess ink that's stuck to my craft sheet just to avoid contamination, because I do like to keep my colors true. So I want the cracked pistachio to show up its true color, even though it's blended with some of the blue. Now, if the blue blends over the entire area of the cracked pistachio, I'm going to lose that bright hue. And it also takes practice, just like anything else. So here I'm going back over the wilted violet. And then I'm going to go back in with the Salty Ocean in the middle. Now this is sped up for the purpose of the video, but it probably took, I'm going to say, half hour to 45 minutes to do all the ink blending on this panel. Sorry about all that shakiness, my table is kind of loose. So with the blue in the middle, I started with tumbled glass, but I wasn't getting the payoff I wanted, so I switched to the Salty Ocean. The tumbled glass is a very light blue, so if you want a light pastel sort of color, then stick with that one. But I tend to like my bright in-your-face colors. So the next thing I'm going to do is a little bit of ink lifting, and I'm going to use this stencil. This is from Echo Park, and I think it's called Snow Swirls, but I'll have that in the on my blog I'll have all of the specific supplies listed. So I just stick the stencil over the top, and I'm going to spritz it with water and then use a paper towel to pick up the water. And however long you leave it on is the intensity of the pattern you'll get. So I left it on probably 15 to 20 seconds, not very long. Flurry stencil, that's what it's called. And you can see that that's the pattern of the stencil it leaves behind. And again, this will work specifically with distress inks because they're designed to do that. I don't know about any other brand of dye ink that it will work with. So this stamp set I'm using is by the Greeting Farm, and it's called God is Awesome. And I'm using some Ranger Archival black ink. And I've also ran my panel through my die cut machine using an Avery L. Wonky Stitches frame die. And I'm going to stamp down those little circle pattern using some Delicata Golden Glitz ink. And this is a pigment ink. But unlike other pigment inks, you don't have to heat emboss this one, and it dries fairly quickly. Normally I recommend heat setting or heat embossing all pigment inks, but this specific one is designed to dry faster. And I've noticed that when you do, even if you use clear embossing powder over it, it kind of loses some of the sparkle that it has. So I like to stamp it and then just let it dry. So I've got a Spectrum Noir clear glitter sparkle pen there, and I'm just adding some to her wings. And then I'm going to cut a piece of the charcoal cardstock, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I'm going to use that Golden Glitz ink pad to kind of rim the edges. You can add as much or as little as you want to. I wasn't getting as much showing as I wanted, so I went in a little heavier and kind of brushed the pad against the edges to get a little more ink onto the edges. And then I mounted that to my card base using some score tape. And then positioned the inked panel into the bottom right corner, and attached that with score tape as well. So this is the French Quarter embellishment kit by 28 Lilac Lane, and she has some really gorgeous button and sequin mixes. And then the sequins I used are from Little Things, and I used the gold ones out of that pack, Gilded Rose. So that's the card for today. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we will catch you next time. Thanks guys, bye-bye.